Okay, so we did this one. We now did some DOM CRUD, which is great. It's becoming more useful. But I want to add my own compliments as well. I don't want like just the compliments that were given to me. I want everyone here, to be able to add any compliments that they want to give, and we can hug those. So this is our next objective. We're going to do the create in in CRUD for DOM manipulation and like event handling. Let's think about how we want to do this. So what I want to do is I want to somehow get input from a user, type in some stuff, and submit that information somehow or click somewhere. And I want to add a new card right here with like my, it's weird that all three of these are the exact same. I want to add like a new card right here after I like make my compliment, right? So I'm going to use a technology that you've used before, but a little differently. And that is, if you look at my index.html, this is actually getting really tiny too. We just have a UL in here. Like, I want to add in a form. Okay, so what I'm doing is, unlike what we did in Rails and like form fors and all that stuff, that's going to go away. I'm using just a simple form tag for right now. And I have two inputs. The first input is the text that I want, which is going to be my compliment. It's like where I want to type in, this is a compliment I want to say. And the second one is just a submit button. Cool. Let's see what it looks like. I also did some basic styling. So you'll see it's not anything fancy. So if I refresh, there we go. So we have, looks like I can tell I've already done a compliment here from before, and I've got a submit button. All I did to get these styles are just a little bit of a check on this. You'll see I added two classes for when we delete stuff and when we favorite things, but don't worry about that. Here, this is called an attribute selector. You can use this in document.query selector, or you can use it in CSS. It's the same selectors. Given my input, if the type is text, do this code. This is called an attribute selector because you're selecting an attribute of an element. And if the input type is submit, then do this stuff. And here it just says type text, type submit, so I'm just finding those specific elements. Cool. All right, so right now, I want to say nice hair, and I want to submit this. What do we think is going to happen right now? Nothing. We got nothing. We got any other guesses? Go ahead. Something and nothing. Those are two great guesses. I think we got everything covered. Let's try it. Submit. Got a weird flashy situation going on. And if you notice up here, we've got some stuff in our query params. I don't know if we meant to do that, but it's there. And you see this refresh, it's like gone now. Like if I just keyboard mash and I click submit, whoa, whole page refreshed. I got this here now. So what is happening? I can go to my network tab. Oh, I got so many cat photos now. I can go here. I can look at my request, right? So this is my HTML, index.html. You can see it's got like question mark compliment now, and I can click on it, look at my headers, and be like, oh, I have a query string parameter. So it's actually making a full new GET request. It's trying to find something. Like it's like just sending this query parameter along the way. Why do we think this is happening? Go ahead.
Because you don't have any method or action for it.
Yes, the default behavior of a form just out of the box in HTML, this is what it does. It goes, you didn't tell me what to do? I don't know. I'm just going to make a new request, and I'm going to throw some crap up on the URL, and hopefully that works. That's just how HTML works by default. A form does. Cool? Okay, so a couple things we need to do. So what I want to do is I want to take this nice hair And when I click submit, I don't want it to do all that stuff. I want it to basically make a new card and add it to my UL. And I want this text to be right here. So I'm just going to walk through it. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions. All right. So first, I need, like, what has been this pattern? Like, we're starting to do it. What is a pattern at a high level that we need to do?
So you want to just do a query select and for the submit and add an event listener, one click, and take whatever the value of the input for the, I guess, text class or whatever, and do the template based off of that.
Yeah, awesome. Like, exactly. I think you're so you're starting to get this like intuition of how the internet is set up with JavaScript and how to start to play with this. And this is just learned. Like, I've got intuition on how things behave now, but it's only after just practicing it and seeing it and trying it over and over. So just like start to see these patterns. You're like, okay, what am I doing? I'm finding a form, right? I need to find something. Then I need to like wait for something to happen. So I need an event. So I'm like, on this form, when something happens, then I do a thing. And the thing I'm doing now is I'm going to take this stuff, grab my complement, and add a new LI into my UL, like add a new complement card. Cool? That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to write that down. So I'm just going to take my README. I want to be able to add my own complement. So oops, sorry about that. I want to add my own complements. Done. So find my form tag. I want to add an event listener to when I submit my form. You know, like click on the submit button. And I want to create a new LI with the complement I inputted into my form and add it to my UL, right? Those are kind of the things we want to do. Find the thing we want to mess with, add interactivity by using an event listener, and then inside of that event, the callback of that event listener, do all this DOM creation stuff. Cool. So how do we find our form tag? Go ahead. We can do that. Well, right now, document dot query selector form. Right now I'm keeping it simple because it's the only form. But you're right, if we had multiple forms, then we have more complicated HTML. We could put an ID and just be like, I don't know, complement form, right? Something like that. We'll just keep that. We'll just do it. Why not? And instead, I'll say grab the ID of complement form. There you go. We can do that. Totally fine. Yep. Cool. So we have complement form. Let's look inside of here. Let's, so now we have this first part. We have our form tag. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to say, find our form tag. So for me, this is never going to change. So I'm going to use const form tag equals. Cool. Now we want to add an event listener when we submit the form. So form tag. How do we add an event listener? And what event are we listening for? Click, okay. And let's just see if it works. All right, How many people think when I click this is going to work? All right, how many don't? All right, let's see. Oh, something weird happened. Kind of worked. I can see it's like flashing it worked. And what do you think if I click here? Do you think it'll work? Yeah, so it worked there. Anywhere in the form, it's going to do that. And then submit. So submit's still doing this weird thing up here. There's a couple of things that I want to point out with forms specifically. While you kind of can use clicks, if we look up all of our events, forms have their own event type. And their event type is submit. Why? Well, you saw we can click on this and it fires. We can click on this and it fires, but it resets everything because the form's default behavior is all crazy. But what we want to do is wait for when we actually are saying, hey, I don't care what I typed in anymore. Like, I've been typing, all this stuff's good. I only want you to do something when I submit the form. So that's what the event's about. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to try the same thing. Refresh. Now, if I click here, if I type, anything happens, nothing. If I click submit, it says it worked again, but it refreshes all weird. So we're getting there. We're getting there. On events, let's debug. So let's see what happens. I'm just going to put a debugger in here. Refresh. Submit. Okay. It did not refresh yet. All the stuff's here. We're right here. We can see events, right? This is what type of event is this? Any guess? Is it a mouse event? Yeah, this is more a weird generic event type submit. Cool. Event.type. It's a submit event. And a submit event has some cool attributes on it. So we can like bust out the event. You can look at it. We have this weird thing called default prevented. It's like, nope, we're just going to let this form run wild and do whatever it wants. Just have the default behavior of a form. But we can actually say, catch that event. And instead of that event triggering like the normal behavior of a form, we can say event.prevent default. And there's a function that you can call. And now, default prevented, true. Now we're stopping that event from refreshing the page and doing all the form stuff. So if I put that in the code now, refresh. Let me remove this so we can just see if it adds anything. Nothing happened. See? Nothing happened this time. And that's because of this event.prevent default. This says, on a form, don't do your normal form thing. I'm going to tell this form what to do. Cool? Go ahead.
You use this type of submit. Where is the text saved?
Good question. Let's check out our event. So we have this thing. Still has target. What is target? It's the form. That's actually what's submitting. It's the form itself. The form has two things, an input and an input. So you can say event.target.querySelector. Give me the first input. There it is. And give me the value. There it is, hiding in there, right? That's one way to do it. Also, there's a couple other cool things about forms. There's helper things that make life easy. So kind of before, you were asking like, why can't we just do body.h1, things like that? Well, in a form, if it has a name, if it's a named input, if it has name equals something, you can say event.target, which is a form, dot computed style map, complement. And it knows how to find that right input, which is really cool. And I can say complement dot value. Cool. There's a bunch of ways you could find this information, like query selector. You could say event.target.children, and then grab the first input and grab the value. There's a bunch of ways you can do this. Go ahead.
Actually, when this thing runs on the HTML template, what is a hidden field?
It's not a hidden field. I mean, the value isn't in there. Yeah, it doesn't show anywhere, the value. No, correct. Yep. You can actually go, you can see in here, value right here. It's in there. They're just objects, but normally you just have to call dot value to know. Yep. All right. So we found from our form, we went to the form itself. We went to the first element, right here, the first input, and got the value. And another way to write this, just because it's a named field, name equals complement, I can just call the name of that. So I'm going to do that. Cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to console log that to see if it works. Sweet. All right, it works. Cool. Any questions on this part? Go ahead.
Does it get like, I know we're not talking about this right now, but does it get a little bit messy when you're using JavaScript for this, and then what happens with the backend? Because I'm using JavaScript to see what I'm doing on the submit, but I'm not actually doing anything with the form.
Yeah.
When I want to actually use that with JavaScript, and I want to save it in my backend.
Yep, we'll do that tomorrow. Exactly that. But you'll need both, and you'll see why it's really valuable. But this is never going to go away, this kind of thing. Yep. Good question. I like you're trying to connect the dots right away. Yep. Cool. So what do we have now? We found our form tag. We added an event listener where you submit the form, right? So I click on the submit button. That form fires an event called submit. And I'm like, cool, when that event happens, stop it from doing that weird thing where it tries to like refresh the page and like adds all these query parameters. And I just want you to give me the value of whatever I put in that complement input box. That's what that's doing. So if it's easier to read, I cannot do that. I can say target, right? This is my form. And I'm saying here, query selector, give me the first input, right? Either way, both will work. See, refresh, same. Cool. So last thing we need to do, create a new LI with the complement I inputted into my form and add it to my UL. Have we done this before? Yep. Where have we done this?
So can you just copy the UL template?
Right here? This? Yeah. Let's try it. What am I doing? Let's see. So we already have our UL tag, right? That's defined in our global scope right here. We've been using it for everything. And we're just going to say, grab the inner HTML and make a new tag and put in complement. Is this going to work? Ah, you want this text, right? Save. Moment of truth. Refresh. Let's get some nice hair. Submit. Did it work? You think so? Yeah. How are we going to find out? Nice hair. Can we hug it? We can. It all works. Cool, right? We just did like 2 parts of CRUD, which are awesome. We did like we've already done reading, actually. This is reading. We've like took a list from an array and we've turned it into a bunch of LIs. We like created them and we're reading from information. We've created and we're like getting elements. We've created now dynamically here and we've updated. See, we're updating like our light count or our hug count. If we wanted to put this at the top, here's a way to do that. This is shorthand for saying this is equal to this plus this. All we have to do is put this string first, then the rest of the HTML here. Now, it's at the top. Cool? Cool. The site's starting to come alive, right? Last thing that I want to do for this lecture, and I will give you another video for. I want to get this weird map parrot, and I want to favorite something, and I'll put like map parrot head like dancing every time I favorite an item. I'll just look like a crazy person over there. I'll talk to myself and code it out, and I'll upload that video so you can see it. But what I'm going to do now is I want to add delete, and then that will round out our CRUD. Go ahead. I love it. You mean because I like literally copied this and pasted it down there? 100% yes. Let's do that tomorrow morning. And I'll show you because what I want to do tomorrow is I want to like add in more how to like use functions to return like templates and things like that. So we'll see if we have time. If we do it right after this thing, then I'll do it. If not, I'll do it tomorrow morning. Awesome. 100% agree. Okay, so last thing we need to do. So this one's done. We can add our own compliments. Heck yeah. Want to delete a complement. So basically what I want to do is I want to add this div called trash. And I want to add it basically like, I want to add it like up here. So before the, I'm going to edit this whole thing as HTML. This will not save anywhere, but I just want to show you what I want it to look like. So I want to put it here. And I do not know which one I just put it on. Okay. Look for a trash can. There it is. So I want it basically a trash can to be over here. And I want when I click on it, I want to delete this specific complement. Okay. So any thoughts on how I could do this? What do I need to change about my code for this to happen? Go ahead. Yeah. You need what? Okay, cool. Yeah, we could do that. Yep. So you're saying like if we go into our template right here. Like ID 1 and then 2 and then 3 kind of thing. Yeah, we can do that. I don't want to do it that way. I'll show you a different way to do it. That's a great thought. That's potentially a way you could do it. Go ahead.
Can't you just add that div to the template?
Like this? Yep, we can do that. We need to do that. So let's refresh and save. Yep. I'm going to show exactly that. So right now, there's no trash, right? Why not? Yep, and to your point, that's why we want to dry our code up, right? So Right now, if I have nice hair, now I have one, right? Because I made one just now. So I'm making a bunch of them, and now I have trash cans on them. But for the ones that I didn't make with my form, I didn't add the code yet to that template, right? So I added it to this template, but I copied that template from up here. I need to add it here. Oh, sorry. I need to add it here so that both get that change. And you know, you've already got great intuition about the dry principle, right? You're like, oh, I copied and pasted. That doesn't feel right. Maybe I should dry that up. This is exactly why, because you want to make a change to your template, and now you have to do it in two places. So I wanted to point these things out as we go to see where these headaches are so you can be better and better as you go. So now we've got trash cans. Trash cans galore. I love it. Okay. Now what? Go ahead.
I mean, if we just find the event target, we can just delete the parent.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've got all these trash cans. What is the principle that we've kind of been talking about when we're using like event delegation? Where do we put, like, how do we look for all these trash cans? There's one in every LI. Like how do we know that we clicked on this one or this one? Like we have to use an event listener. Where do we put that event listener? Go ahead. Like right here in the UL? Right here? So like, yeah, tell me what I'm writing. Yeah. All good. Okay. So are we looking for all the LIs or all the ULs? Okay. So document.query selector, this one, and this will find the first UL. Okay. And this will return one UL. Or we can just get this. We only have one UL on the page. Yeah. So we want to take that UL, and it's got all of our LIs, and each one has a trash in it. So let me ask this question. Let me just step back for a second. How did I grab every button? It's a similar problem, right? It's trash on every UL or LI. There's a button on every LI at some point. How did I know which button I've been clicking? Go ahead. Yeah. I love it. Yes. So we already have code that's similar to that, right? We know that all the buttons are right here, right? We're like in the UL tag, right? If we look here, our UL tag, this is our like first common parent for all of our buttons, right? We have a button here. We have a button here. The first common parent for all these buttons is the UL. Similarly, the first common parent for all these trash icons is the UL. So we already have an event listener on this UL. What event are we listening for the trash? It's also click. So check it out. We can use this same event listener. We just need to make a change. So right now, all we're doing is seeing if our event is a button and we're running code. So you kind of already gave like us a hint of maybe a way we could do this. You could say, instead of just checking the tag name, what does this specific what does this specific element have unique to itself? A class name trash. That's one of the things, right? So let's just go in here, put a debugger. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Here, the debugger is paused. What is this event? .target. It's an H3. We're going to go through event.target tag name. And it's going to be like, this is an H3. Oh, cool. Don't run this code because it's not a button. So we press play. Nothing happens. Up here, if I click this, oh, it still fires. Awesome. And I can say, what's a tag name? A div. Well, the problem is there's a div here and a div here. So there's multiple divs. So we need something more unique. So instead of tag name, we could use class name, right? That seems unique. And so we can say the class name has to equal trash, right? We could also do inner text and be like, the inner text has to equal this. By the way, there's nothing if you learn anything from me, it's that Control Command Space brings up an emoji keyboard. Probably the most important thing I'll ever teach you. So that's true, right? Inner text is equal to a trash can. Same thing. It just depends on what we want to do. So event.target.className, we're going to use that. We're going to go into the same event listener, and we're going to just say, if that's not true, else if this class name equals trash. I'm going to close this debugger. I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to just console log what this is now, this event target. So we're just trying to find just the trash icon. That's all we're trying to do now. Refresh. We found it. So we have our trash icon in like the right one. Now what do we need to do? I guess, can someone explain in plain English what I want to do when I click this? Delete this whole thing, right? So in code, what do I need to delete? The list item, our template, right? This specific list item. So let's put a debugger in here. What is it? Yes, exactly. So we have here, we're like, all right, I want to delete this cat. Paused, event, target, right? Well, let's look at this template. Where is trash? Trash is right here. Like we want to delete all this stuff, right? So we just have to go up one level. Right, there's everything, right? That's that whole cat card, everything. And we can remove it. Goodbye. The power. So now, all I have to do is that. Cool, save. Bye, bye, bye. Goodbye. Let's go to the top. All these cats are going away. And I can add new ones. And I can like them, right? We have a full CRUD app using DOM manipulation and event handling. It's freaking cool. We just brought this website to life using just straight up JavaScript and event handling, callbacks, and DOM manipulation. Yes? Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Sorry. Cool. Any questions? This is it. All right, we dove deep into both of these topics yesterday and today. We're going to do one more deep dive into Fetch tomorrow, and then put CRUD into Fetch, like everything on Thursday. And then on Thursday, that's everything that's going to be on the code challenge. That's it. So we've got 2 of the 3 pillars. Cool? So we've got 2.
Sir, can you share this link of this exercise to practice?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, every lecture, I have this exact example code and my video that I post. As far as we get, I commit this, I push it up. Feel free to play with all of this. I'll push this up right after I get done. Go ahead. Oh, okay.
Do we have time for that bonus issue?
Oh, I will do the bonus. All right, I guess let me ask this. Who wants to leave this lecture room because you've been here for a long time? That's what I thought. All right, so what we'll do is if anyone wants to do it later, we'll do it, but thank you.